Welcome to the Hindu News Analysis by Shankar IAS Academy. Today, as part of our news analysis, with reference to the discussion of the displayed articles, we'll be seeing about legal provisions in connection with punishing acts of publishing and transmitting child pornography. We'll see about Bhadra Tiger Reserve, Kudremukha National Park, Pushpagiri Wildlife Sanctuary. Then we will see exam relevant information pertaining to Pledge for Progress campaign, editorial on alimony or maintenance, then also about All India Council for Technical Education. The link for the handwritten notes in the PDF format and the timestamping of the discussed articles are provided in the description box and also in the comment section for the benefit of mobile phone viewers. Now let us move on to the analysis of first news article. This news article states that police have arrested 3 persons in relation to possessing and sharing child pornography. In this context, let us discuss some of the important legal provisions against child pornography. The syllabus relevant for the analysis is highlighted here for your reference. First, let us discuss the provisions under Information Technology Act of 2000. Here, the relevant sections are Section 67, then Section 67 capital A, and then Section 67 capital B. Now, if you come to Section 67, it is about punishment for publishing or transmitting obscene material in electronic form. Now, it deals with people who publishes or transmits electronic material which is lascivious, meaning something that may create a feeling or reveal an overt sexual interest or sexual desire, or the electronic material which appeals to the prurient interest, meaning something that appeals to have an excessive interest in sexual matters of others, or something that encourages to have an excessive interest in the sexual matters or sexual activity of others. Now, this material could deprave and corrupt persons who are likely to read it or see or hear it. In such case, the punishment for first conviction is imprisonment up to a term of 3 years and fine up to 5 lakh. However, there is also enhanced punishment for subsequent conviction. This provision has been added keeping in mind to curb the tendency of recidivism or the tendency among habitual or repeating offenders. So in the case of subsequent conviction, it could be extended up to 5 years and 10 lakh rupees respectively. Now let's come to Section 67 capital A. It's about punishment for publishing or transmitting of material containing sexually explicit act in electronic form. So it deals with people who publishes or transmits electronic material that contain sexually explicit acts. The punishment for first conviction is imprisonment up to 5 years and a fine of 10 lakh rupees. In the event of subsequent conviction, the imprisonment may extend to 7 years. Now, the most important section directly related to our current discussion is Section 67 capital B. Now, it is about punishment for publishing or transmitting electronic material depicting children in sexually explicit acts. This section covers several offences. For example, publishing electronic material depicting children in sexually explicit acts, then creating text or digital images, then browsing, advertising, exchanging such material, then inducing children to online relationship with one or more children for sexual acts, then facilitating online abuse of children and recording sexual acts with children. So for these offences, on first conviction, imprisonment up to a term of 5 years and fine up to 10 lakh. Subsequent conviction, imprisonment may extend to 7 years. Note that children under the section here refers to a person who has not completed the age of 18 years. There are also some exemptions under Section 67, 67 capital A and 67 capital B. This is because as per IT Act 2000, these sections do not extend to any book, pamphlet, paper, writing, drawing, painting, representation or figure in electronic form if the publication is proved to be justified as being for the public good. And the term public good here takes the meaning of something that is in the interest of science, literature, art or learning or other objects of general concern. And the next exemption is if the material in electronic form is kept or used for bona fide heritage or religious purposes. Now let us come to the relevant provisions from the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act called as POCSO 2012. As we know, this is a legislation to protect children from offences of sexual assault, sexual harassment and pornography and to establish special codes for trial of such offences. Today's discussion is connected with Section 13 and 14 of this law. Section 13 deals with using children for pornographic purposes. It covers those who use a child in any form of media for the purposes of sexual gratification. This includes representation of sexual organs of a child, usage of a child engaged in real or simulated sexual acts, then indecent or obscene representation of a child. You can observe the term indecent or obscene representation. Oftentimes, experts involved in the welfare of children, they also criticize that in several media platforms, children are made to wear a particular dress that projects or leads to indecent or obscene representation. Coming to Section 14, it deals with punishment for using child for pornographic purposes. Those convicted under Section 13 shall be punished with an imprisonment up to 5 years and also liable to fine. There is also enhanced punishment for subsequent conviction. If the convict directly participates in pornographic acts through penetrative sexual assault under the definitions of Section 3, then the person shall be punished with imprisonment for minimum of 10 years and may extend to imprisonment for life. And if the same person engages in aggravated penetrative sexual assault as defined in Section 5 of the law, the person shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for life. So these are some of the important provisions related to using children for the purposes of pornography from the POCSO Act 2012. With this, we come to the end of analysis of this news article. In this analysis, we saw various legal provisions associated with the definition and punishment for offences involving child pornography, and also related to transmitting or publishing such content in electronic form. Now let's move on to the analysis of next news article. This editorial talks about alimony or maintenance given to female spouse in case of separation from husband. In a recent verdict, Supreme Court clarified that an abandoned wife and children will be entitled to maintenance from the date she applies for it in a court of law. In this context, let us discuss maintenance and what Supreme Court has observed in this regard. The syllabus relevant is highlighted here for your reference. See, in simple terms, alimony or maintenance, it refers to monetary compensation that a person pays to previous spouse who is unable to support herself or himself. The amount or the maintenance compensation depends on the matrimonial laws specific to specific religions. Today's article talks about the status of maintenance or alimony given to women in India. See, the support to female spouse in the form of maintenance, it is based on two important constitutional safeguards. One, Article 15 Clause 3, then Article 39. See, though Article 15 Clause 1, it prohibits discrimination on the ground of sex, Article 15 Clause 3 provides for the state to positively discriminate or to take affirmative action for women and children. Clause 3 states that nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for women and children. Now, this has to be read together with Article 39, which directs state policy towards protecting the health of women and children. So based on these constitutional safeguards, Indian Parliament enacted many legislations that provides for maintenance for women and children. We could see some of the important legislations that cover these areas include Hindu Marriage Act of 1955, Special Marriage Act of 1954, Section 125 to 128 of Code of Criminal Procedure, in particular Section 125, then Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act of 2005, and here we have given you part of Section 125 CRPC and Section 128 CRPC for your reference. Coming to the status of enforcement of maintenance orders in India, it is found that these orders were poorly enforced. That is, in many cases, it is observed that the maintenance amount is not paid to the women and children. As a result, many vulnerable women, they are pushed or further pushed into poverty, homelessness and vagrancy. It is found that spouses are not paying the agreed alimony in a timely manner, and they are also indulging in multiple litigations that delays the enforcement of maintenance order. And with cases known to drag for years, this could worsen the misery of vulnerable women. And there was also increase or growing number of matrimonial litigations in India. Therefore, more clarity was required related to maintenance and enforcing maintenance orders. It is in connection with these aspects, the recent Supreme Court verdict provides a glimmer of hope for three important reasons. One, it said that an abandoned wife and children will be entitled to maintenance from the date she applies for it in a court of law. Two, it observed that maintenance provided should prevent dependent wives and children from falling into poverty and homelessness. More importantly, and thirdly, the court set down comprehensive guidelines on maintenance or alimony. So these three aspects with respect to the recent Supreme Court verdict provide some clarity in relation to maintenance and enforcement of maintenance orders. So these are some of the information with reference to the analysis of this editorial article. Now let's move on to next part of the discussion. This news article talks about a 6-lane National Highway 173 that was proposed to be constructed between Mudigire and Nelliyadi towns of Chikmagaluru and Dakshina Kannada districts of Karnataka. The news is that the road will cut through a series of forest patches of central Western Ghats that include Bhadra Tiger Reserve, Kudiraimukha National Park, and the Pushpagiri Wildlife Sanctuary. So in this context, let us have a brief understanding about these protected areas that are located in the state of Karnataka. First, let us see about Bhadra Tiger Reserve. See, this reserve is predominantly located in Chikmagaluru district, with a small portion being in Bhadravati Taluk of Shivamoga district. It was first notified as a wildlife sanctuary in the year 1974, and at that time it was popularly known as Muttodi Wildlife Sanctuary. In the year 1999, it was notified as a tiger reserve. The Jagar Valley Wildlife Park, which was declared in the year 1951, was also part of this sanctuary. Now coming to flora, know that the forests of this tiger reserve is primarily moist deciduous and semi-evergreen types, with evergreen patches in wetter localities towards the west and also in the higher reaches. Then primarily it is of dry deciduous forests towards the eastern part of the reserve. It harbors some of the best moist deciduous forests of Karnataka, especially in the Muttodi Lakkavalli region. In the east of the reserve, we can find Baba Budan Hills, and if one goes to the higher reaches of Baba Budan Hills, we can find extensive and rolling grasslands which surrounds pockets of shola vegetation. Now coming to fauna, these are the animals that can be found in this reserve. Now let's talk about Kudiraimukha National Park. See, Kudiraimukha, it means horse face. It derives its name from the highest hill peak known as Kudiraimukha Peak, which has an altitude of 1892 meters. Now, this national park, it lies to the southwest of Karnataka state, and it is located at the tri-junction of Dakshina Kannada, Udupi and Chikmagalur districts of Karnataka. The region approximately falls in the middle of mid-western Ghats, that is in the middle of the stretch between Goa and Nilgiris. The national park houses 4 important ranges: Kudiraimukha Range, Kerekette Range, Kalasa Range and Shimoga Range. And it falls under Global Tiger Conservation Priority 1 under the format which is developed by Wildlife Conservation Society and Worldwide Fund USA. It mainly consists of evergreen forests and shola grassland biome. And importantly, it has undisturbed wet evergreen forests. And these forests area in this national park, it holds one of the single largest contiguous populations of lion-tailed macaque in India and also in the world. Then it contains specific species of animals like Malabar giant squirrels, gars, giant flying squirrels, etc. It is also the source of major rivers like Tunga, Bhadra, Netravati, and it also acts as catchment for many minor rivers like Gurupura, Swarna and Sita Nadi. So these are some of the information related to Kudiraimukha National Park. Now let's come to Pushpagiri Wildlife Sanctuary. It is located in Somwarpet Taluk in Kodagu district, which is also called as Coorg district. It was made a wildlife sanctuary in the year 1987. It is also one of the important bird sanctuaries in the world. This is because it is home to endangered and very rare species of birds. On the one side, this sanctuary has Kukke Supramania Forest Range, and the other, it has Bisley Reserve Forest. The sanctuary is covered by steep terrains and waterfalls along with mountain streams. A reserve forest called as Kadamakkal Reserve Forest is part of this wildlife sanctuary, The sanctuary has an altitude of 162,712 meters and Pushpagiri is the highest peak in it. You can also find various farms and 70% of the sanctuary is covered with dense forests. Now coming to the vegetation or flora part, the forest contains semi-evergreen vegetation and dense evergreen trees. Many of the faunal species in this sanctuary, they show high rate of endemism, and the sanctuary is also home for many critically endangered and endangered species like Malabar civet, slender loris, and these varieties of animal species could be spotted in this wildlife sanctuary. As mentioned already, the sanctuary has a rich diversity of birds that include threatened species like black and orange flycatcher, grey-breasted laughing thrush, and Nilgiri flycatcher. We can also find birds like Nilgiri wood pigeon, Malabar grey hornbill, grey-headed bulbul, blue-winged parakeet, small sunbird, and white-bellied blue flycatcher. With this, we come to the end of analysis of this news article. In this analysis, we saw three important protected areas in the state of Karnataka: Bhadra Tiger Reserve, Kuduremukha National Park, and Pushpagiri Wildlife Sanctuary. Now let's move on to the analysis of next news article. This news article talks about a campaign to promote gender equality. A Pledge for Progress campaign have been launched by UK in India Network in association with over 100 partners to promote gender equality and to mobilize a real world change in this regard. When we say UK in India Network, it comprises of British High Commission New Delhi and 9 Deputy High Commissions and also British Trade and Consular Offices across India. It is the UK's largest overseas network anywhere in the world. Now, as part of this campaign, a pledge was signed by a collective of 114 organizations spanning across government, business and civil society, all of them committed to take practical steps to tackle gender inequality. One important target with reference to gender equality, we have the principle of equal pay for equal work. Article 39 of Indian Constitution directs state policies to achieve equal pay for equal work. However, according to an estimate of International Labour Organization, at the current rate of progress, it will take 75 years to make this principle a reality. And at the global level, women also enjoy fewer rights compared to men in many spheres. For example, if you take the political representation, they make up only 24% of representatives in national parliaments in the world. And this number could be an average, and that has to be disaggregated to get individual picture of each country. We also have United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 5 that aims to achieve gender equality and to empower all women and girls by the year 2030. The targets under this goal number 5 are given here for your reference. Now coming to the Pledge for Progress campaign. See, it aims to empower organizations and individuals to break down prevailing gender norms and stereotypes and together to build a gender equal society. To achieve this, 5 key commitments have been committed by the signatories of the pledge. One is to use the platforms of the signatories to amplify the voices of women leaders within their organizations and beyond. Then to seek gender diverse representation when hosting and participating in panels and roundtables. Then to strive to include gender analysis in the design, implementation and evaluation of their activities. We also have the concept of gender budgeting. This could be at the level of nation, at the level of every institution as well. Then making organizations great places for people of all genders to work by ensuring that their internal policies fulfill that particular aim. Finally, working as a collective of gender equality champions, developing and sharing best practices to together implement the pledge. So these are the 5 key commitments agreed by the signatories. So these are some of the information with reference to the analysis of this news article. Now let's move on to next part of the discussion. This news article talks about a circular issued by All India Council for Technical Education for addressing the concerns about recruitment of faculty to interdisciplinary programs. The circular comes after receiving several complaints from faculty members regarding recruitment policies followed by various institutions. For example, the Council noted many instances where employers of education institutions that offer relevant or appropriate courses in major disciplines, they were found to have rejected the job applications of graduates of these relevant or appropriate courses. So in this regard, AICTE issued clarification on equivalence and appropriateness of nomenclatures of degrees in technical institutions. It has asked the approved institutions to carefully deal with faculty recruitment as well as other equivalent issues with proper justification in order to give justice to the aspiring candidates. The circular is important because in many cases, several candidates have suffered rejection at the hands of recruitment agencies even after having studied a degree in the required area of discipline from a government institution or a government approved institution. Therefore, the exercises as asked by AICTE are required across different streams, different regions and also at the national level. And in many cases, candidates were rejected by state recruitment agencies because of reasons like poorly proofreaded notifications that call for applicants with outdated degree titles or nomenclatures. On several instances, applicants were rejected for mismatch in degree titles in the same discipline as well. Say, for example, the notification calls for Master in Biology, then the candidate with Masters in Advanced Biology will be rejected. And we understand that this is a mechanical rejection. So the step taken by AICTE in this regard, in its jurisdiction of technical education, is appreciable. So in this context, let us have a brief understanding about AICTE. See, it was set up before independence in the month of November 1945 as a national level apex advisory body. It was mandated to conduct a survey on the facilities available for technical education. Later on, in the year 1987, it was given statutory status by an act of parliament. So now it is a statutory body under Ministry of Education. It is headquartered in New Delhi and also has many regional branches across India. It discharges its functions through an executive committee. The mission of AICTE is given here for your reference. Now let's see some of the important functions of this council. See, it coordinates the development of technical education in the country at all levels. It evolves suitable performance appraisal system for technical institutions and universities that provide technical education such as engineering, management, architecture. It lays down norms and standards for courses, curricula, physical and instructional facilities, etc. with reference to technical institutions and universities. Then it grants approval for starting new technical institutions and for introduction of new courses or programs. See, AICTE has delegated powers to process and grant approval of new institutions to the concerned state governments. It also has delegated powers to the states for starting new courses and bringing variations in the intake capacity of diploma level technical institutions. And with reference to Swayam program of Ministry of Education, AICTE serves as one of the 9 national MOOCs coordinators. So these are some of the important information with reference to the analysis of this news article. Now let's move on to next part of the discussion. We have come to the last session, the practice questions discussion session. See this question. They have given 6 protected areas and are asking which of the above are situated in the state of Karnataka. If you go through the given 6 protected areas, you can find that Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve is in the state of Tamil Nadu and Tadoba Andari Tiger Reserve is in the state of Maharashtra. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. See this question, 2 statements are given. They're asking the above statements refer to which one of the following national parks or sanctuaries. It is located at the tri-junction of Dakshina Kannada, Udupi and Chikmagalur districts of Karnataka. It is the source of major rivers like Tunga, Bhadra and Netravati rivers. The correct answer for this question is option A, Kudremukha National Park. Now this question is with reference to Pledge for Progress campaign recently seen in news. 2 statements are given. They're asking which of the above statements are correct. First statement, it is a campaign to empower organizations and individuals to break down prevailing gender norms and to build a gender equal society. This statement is correct. Statement 2, it was organized by the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women. This statement is incorrect because it is organized by UK in India Network along with more than 100 organizations spanning across government, business and civil society. The correct answer for this question is option A, one only. Now see this question with reference to All India Council for Technical Education. 2 statements are given. They are asking which of the above statements are incorrect. It is a non-statutory advisory body under the Ministry of Education. Education. See, it's a statutory body, therefore the first statement becomes incorrect. It coordinates the development of technical education in India at all levels, including postgraduate, undergraduate and diploma. Second statement is correct, therefore the correct answer for this question is option A, because only the first statement is incorrect. Now see these two practice mains questions. The first question deals with the subject of child pornography. The second question reads, among the Indian women, divorced or separated women are the most vulnerable and eventually falls into destitution and vagrancy. Discuss. Now, with reference to child pornography, we would like to inform that we have covered this subject in detail also in our Hindu News Analysis on 7th February 2020, where we saw about important suggestions of the ad hoc committee of Rajya Sabha on curbing child pornography. With this, we come to the end of today's The Hindu News Analysis. If you like the video, click the like button, comment, share and subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel for more updates and content on civil service exam preparation.